Oh, you're on
You're
the
on the
wrong
wrong mic.
audio. What are you doing? What are you holding?
Well,
Are
we're
you?
live, so what we're doing is having a four-person stream with two special guests uh, instead of
Tell
just one
us
on Nick. So
if
that's
you're comfortable, Nick. What are you doing? What are you?
always trying to get his mic to the correct mic while keeping his co-producer happy and all that.
The baby
Merry
has a
Christmas
great name, right,
to
Nick?
one and all.
Yeah, Roman. I can't hear you.
Beetlejuice is what I see your mouth doing.
Beetlejuice.
I'm pretty sure it's Beetlejuice.
You are on mute, dude. You're on mute.
You're still
Can
there.
you
We
hear me
go.
now?
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah, there we
Smooth
go.
voice.
There we go.
All right.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, Hana Kwanzaa. How are we
Mhm.
doing?
Well, I'm
Very good.
festive, but I feel like I'm the only one, which makes me sad.
We left you alone.
Cheers.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a fun celebration. I guess this is the 24th, the night before Christmas, and this is the Tesla BOYZ. But we wanted to just go through all the things that have happened, the progress, the Tesla community, what happened in 2026, 2025, and then what's going to happen in 2026. And then one of the biggest milestones is right there, right in front of you. You can see that. That's a brand new thing that happened in 2025, right, Nick?
That's right. Our little boy finally came into our lives.
Yeah.
Still under warranty.
You can still return window.
I don't know about that.
Nah, there's no taking this one back.
Nope, you broke it.
Mhm.
So yeah. What's going to happen in 2026? I have an answer to that. Probably nothing. No big deal. I had people tell me that nothing happened in 2025. So I've got a video coming up tomorrow, I think, or the next day.
Well, let's not wait for that. Tell us now what
Right.
happened in 2025. What was the things that stood
Oh,
out to you that you thought? So first of all, just in general, do you guys feel like Tesla made progress this year, significant progress, or do you feel like everything's been delayed yet another year?
no, significant progress for sure. We've had the introduction of 3 new models as far as I'm concerned. The YL in China, we've already seen it has homologation for distribution and sales in Europe. That's a big deal. That's going to be a volume unit. We've also got the Y standard and 3 standard, which, while probably not selling as well in the US due to the IRA hangover, we still have good sales opportunities in other countries and other markets. Those will make it more popular, make it even better. So those alone on the automotive front are good. On the energy front, we got Shanghai up and ramped for Megapack, and we've got construction going on of the new one in Texas. Energy storage is a huge and growing business, and that's before we even talk about autonomy and robots, which is 10 shows worth of content right there. Nick, what would you say is your most exciting stuff of 2025?
I mean, well, besides this little guy here, I would definitely say the fact that Robotaxi actually got launched in more than one city, in Austin and, I mean, call it San Fran, Palo Alto, whatever you want to call it. I think that was a pretty big deal. I think that was my main thing. And then just seeing progress on Cybercab.
I mean, you can't argue with that, right? The most important thing for Tesla right now is either going to be Robotaxi or the bot. The bot was delayed more than we all wanted, and we've explained why that is, right? We were hoping to get 5 to 10,000 robots by the end of this year. That did not happen. But what did happen? FSD, it works. It all works. I mean, pretty unanimously, anybody who's sat in an FSD version 14.2, the most latest version, we're all like screaming, going, this is it. This has worked, and we're final days, and we're here. But this idea that we can't roll out in mass, in not just in those cities that they've said, but in any city, basically, and around the world, but specifically the ones I'm driving in, that Brian's driving in, that you're driving in, Nick, and all of our people testing it, it's done in those cities too. So that is the most important thing. Okay, it's done. This is done. We've had Morgan Stanley say, "I'm calling it. FSD is done. Robotaxi's here." So that was the most important thing. And the second thing, of course, is Robotaxi rollout. Right? Can you guys imagine? Like everybody, that was a dream of ours. One day Tesla will roll out an actual Robotaxi service, and then people are going, "No, they'll need to partner with Waymo because it's that difficult to create an app." And it's very difficult to
Uber.
create a ride-hailing service. And then now Tesla has an actual
Yeah.
app. Oops, they have an app.
Herbert,
No
can I
Android.
add to that? Can I add to that as far as like exciting things for 20 or like, looking back at 2025? It's also finally I think fully have this change in narrative. I think it's really happened maybe this month, maybe last 6 weeks, where people are finally starting to actually talk about autonomy, actually starting to talk about robotaxis, actually looking at Tesla differently. This is just starting. It's finally, you're seeing more of the main street kind of take a pivot into looking at Tesla. And I think it's because the inevitable is upon us.
Yeah.
I love it. That is absolutely true. This will never happen, not in our lifetimes. It can't be done. It's too impossible. Well, here's the thing. The more robotaxis get on the road, the easier it is for robotaxis to operate, because it's not the fact that it's a road or vehicles that's the tricky part. It's all those dang humans. They're terrible, terrible drivers, famously bad. Where robots, not so much. Robots are not going to get angry at each other. I've had a handful of people try and road rage against my robot, and my robot doesn't care. When the lane is clear, we get back over. You go road rage against someone else. My car is not emotional. I just finished a 24-ish 100-mile road trip through 4 states. I wasn't just going on the highway. If it was just a highway, I was like, well, I went, from this state to this state. I'm like, right, but it was all highway, right? Yeah, that's less impressive. I was going everywhere. I was going through Palo Alto. I was going through very quiet roads in Nevada. I was going absolutely everywhere. I was driving hours and hours a day, and it just worked. And I showed my stats repeatedly, well over 99%. And why wasn't it 100? Well, one reason is you go to somewhere like Giga, Nevada, you're going to drive a mile manually trying to find a parking spot. That's on me. That's totally on me. I could have just gone to the outermost fringes, and I just wanted to try and find a closer spot. I was unsuccessful in that adventure. But parking lots is really it. I am in the parking lot. I don't know where I'm going because I haven't decided where I'm going, so I can't let the car drive me. And another example I gave to Herbert that will be on his channel tomorrow is we went to look at Christmas lights. Sloth is not slow enough to look at Christmas lights. I'm going to disengage because I'm going to be parking in front of some people's houses. I'm going to be slowly rolling by some other houses. There's a lot here that I want to see human style. Well, when are they going to add that to FSD? I don't know. Maybe never. Maybe some. It doesn't matter. That's
no. You can tell Grok.
Christmas
You can say,
update.
Grok, hey, I want to watch these Christmas lights on the next several houses. Drive slowly.
That could be next year's Christmas update. Absolutely. And you don't have to buy a new car to get it. It is.
So I just learned something. Are you telling me it's okay to stop in front of a house when you're looking at Christmas lights?
Absolutely. 100%.
Why is that not right? Why?
Well, because I always thought that's like a little like creepy.
Rude?
Like, what's this person just standing outside my house? That's why I've always like kept it moving. If you know what I mean.
Okay. So let me give you some
that's more creepier, Nick. Imagine this. Okay.
Is it?
There's Nick in a car and he's like slowly driving.
The window just cracked, eyeballs only.
Maybe it's a Florida man coming out here. But like, if someone just stopped in front of my house, my first thought is not they're looking at lights like, we got a problem here. What are you doing outside my house? I'm gonna come out here. Like we're gonna have some words. What are you doing?
I can help you with this. So as the house on the block that decorates for every holiday, and I mean every holiday, we have the Easter zombie out front, because of course we do. The Easter mummy, of course we do.
I want to see your Valentine's decorations outside.
It's a 12-foot tall mummy holding a giant pink heart. It
Why is
is
it all mummies? Why is it everything is a mummy?
because he's 12 feet tall and he's on the balcony. We can't move him.
You bought him
but
once, and you're gonna use him no matter what, whatever
We have
holiday
used
it
him
is,
to the
he's there.
point he is rusted through. He is now due for replacement. No, what we do, and like my mother-in-law was visiting, she's like, someone stopped in front of the house. It's like, okay, so Sharon, first of all, this is like the tourist part of town. Second of all, our house is a showpiece. We expect people to stop. It's like people come up and say nice car. Do you go, how dare you? No, it is a nice car. I bought a nice car. You're correct. So it is a compliment when people stop and admire. Of course, with ours, people will come up and get pictures with our 4th of July skeletons.
4th of July skeletons.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them wears a tutu.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Do the skeletons dress up for Halloween?
Yes, this year they were minions, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
2025, guys. AI has become a thing. It's real now. I mean, it's obviously real, and it's impacting all of our lives. Agentic AI is impacting our things, and then real world AI. So this, obviously, we have all seen how great FSD is now, where it is now. drove at Hardware 3 Tesla in LA, back and forth, 2 hours one way, 2 hours back. Beautiful, perfect. Because I was of the mind that this Hardware 3 wouldn't be as good as the Hardware 4, and I don't think it is. But what is it that it's not as good at? It was flawless for 4 or 5 hours driving. So, and this is LA, and so now we've got no matter where we take it, it seems to be working perfectly.
I drove Hardware 3 through Tampa for 4 or 5 days. No disengagements. There might have been one. I'm trying to remember. I know I nudged it at one point because when I was making
Yeah.
the U-turn,
You have to press gas sometimes. Yeah.
Well, the other car was waving. I'm like, I don't think Hardware 3 can see that. I'm going to nudge it.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't have gas, but that's interesting. I haven't seen one of those.
I'm sorry. It was a mistake on my side. Yeah, press the gas. I keep saying that. I'm old, dude. I'm old.
You look not a day older than 30, Herbert. That was my Brian imitation. That was my.
Was it? That was pretty good.
That was pretty good, right?
And then FSD has expanded to countries everywhere, all over the place. We've gone global this year, 2025. So I don't know, man. I think that everything we wished had happened. I think some people will still complain that why is there only 30 cars? I was hoping to have 1,000 cars in Austin now. But other than that, we're here. Or 10 cities, right? They were expecting that. And that's part of self-imposed rules, like because Elon said we were supposed to be in 50% of the country, 10 to 20 cities. We were going to have thousands of cars. And okay, we didn't get there. But clearly what matters is, can we get there? Has that changed or not? So in Cybercab, right? We don't know yet if that's on track or not, but everything points that it is.
Yeah. Just real quick, before we get into 2026, just in the spirit of 2025, I just want to, a lot of people joined me this past Saturday in the
for your
course.
Yeah, you did a course thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and just in case any of them are sitting here watching, I just want to say, like, absolutely fantastic. I mean, the community that we have. I know it's not just Tesla community people that were there, like NVIDIA people, Palantir, just in general, like the level of quality character and people and just engagement, the intelligence that was there. It was just absolutely phenomenal. I just, like, if any of you were there and watching right now, just thank you so much. Honestly, it was a pleasure for me to be there. And the kind words that I keep getting publicly and in DMs are just like ridiculous. Like, I genuinely appreciate everybody out there. I hope everybody has a happy holidays. And just Herbert, there was so much demand that we had to cut it off, and we're doing another one January 31st. Nice. So there's like a huge wait list. So if anyone's interested, January 31st, you can see the link in my X handle, or just DM me. I'll send you the link. But it just seriously, our communities are like it's like, look, I like you two. You two are awesome. We're friends. But the
Well,
community and the engagement and
lots
like
of
the level of conversation and comments and engagement, it's just like nothing else. Like, and this is not me just like, guys, I don't do this like for a living or anything, right? Like I have my own day job. So this is like a hobby, a passion. And you guys honestly are just incredible. Like I could keep going,
Mhm.
but I'm sure you guys feel the same sentiment with all your
Yes.
subscribers and just the community. And it's something worth like stopping before we go into 2026 and reflecting on how good the community is. I mean, it's what helped turn
Yeah.
over and influence
The
the
court.
Delaware court and influence
Yeah.
just like over and over. I mean, it's powerful. I love you all genuinely. Like politics aside, everything aside, like there's something that grounds us all, and it just I don't know. I'm gonna stop because just
I
I
will say
genuinely
that
from the bottom of my heart.
I will say that this community is definitely like none other. Uh, it's the enthusiasm. It's the fact that a lot of people have made a substantial amount of money by following some of the things that we've been able to reveal. It's that there's a real engagement. I had a comedy channel on YouTube that at one time was quite big, that had 100,000, maybe 80,000 subscribers back when that was pretty
Wow.
uncommon. I'd get millions of views, but there
Yeah.
was no community. There was no
Right.
one who knew who I was or wanted to meet me or anything like that. I had 2 or 3 regulars out of videos would get thousands and thousands of comments, but I wasn't changing anyone's lives. I wasn't, it.
Yes, you were.
I yeah,
Comedy.
thank you.
It's funny.
No, I was brightening their day, but I wasn't giving them insights that could help them.
Oh, you're
Are
on
you-
mute now.
Oh yeah, you just muted.
There we go. Is that better?
No,
No,
wrong
mic now.
audio. Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's got a there we go. I bumped the cable.
there you go. That's better.
We are telling them how to protect their family, how to keep them in the safest car there is, how to understand which news is actually lying to them and which is telling the truth and why. And it's making people a little bit smarter. So
Is
Yeah,
it a
Brian,
given, guys, that this community is just going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger as more people get into robotaxis, as they realize that technology is truly changing, as they realize that Tesla is actually the one that's leading the way for everything: robots, AI,
I
energy.
think so.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, literally in the last, call it 72 hours, these are 2 DMs I've gotten. One was this guy who reached out. He's the whole reason I did this crash course in December and why we have a spillover now into January 31st is because he reached out to CERN and all this because he actually lives in your guys' neck of the woods up in Washington, but he fell into some tough times, whatever. He was trying to find a way to, get some income off his portfolio. Anyways, that's what led to the course. And he finished the course and he literally sent me a message saying, like, listen, I know everybody was just like talking about like how much they appreciate you and everything in this course and how much it meant to them. But me and my family, I promise you, are more grateful than anyone. It was like you hear those things. And then the other one I got was this guy who's talking about he's selling some of his Tesla, or he was asking me, he's like, hey, I'm married. We're expecting a newborn. My wife's pregnant. And I feel bad about selling some of my stock, that's for profit to buy Tesla. Cause I feel wrong not putting them in a Tesla. And I was like, dude, you're not doing anything wrong. Sell the shares, go buy the Tesla. Like your priorities are right. Your priority is not owning a certain amount of shares. It's that is your priority. But like those two, and then when I said to him, he's like, he like responded to me, like saying like, thanks for like confirming what I was thinking already. And it's like, just like, but and I don't know, like, it's just a special community. Like it just really is.
yeah.
I'll just say, Brian, I just want to echo what you were saying because I thought the way you said it was just brilliant. Like what is the impact have? Yeah.
What is the value of your portfolio if you had your family in a car that wasn't safe and the unthinkable happened?
Exactly. That's what I told. It's exactly what I told him. I told him like the second that I found out that I got married, my wife almost got in like
you
3
found
car
out you got
accidents.
married.
Yeah. Well, I was about to get. My wife almost got into 3 accidents.
Wow.
Not her, right? Like people almost hitting her twice. I was in the car, once I wasn't. And then we were talking about starting a family. At that point, I was like, after the 3rd time, I was like, all right, not worth it. We're finally buying a Tesla. It was hard for me because I'm very frugal and our car was already paid off. I was like, that's it. We're doing it. We just got like, this is like, I feel like the universe is pointing a sign, like, get her into a safe car. You're trying to start a family and you're not even doing the bare bones to make sure that they're as safe as possible. What happened? This is what I told him. What happens if, God forbid, something happens and you're sitting in your head thinking, what if I had just put him in a Tesla? Would they have been safer? What if something like, don't live in what if, just go do it. We can always make more money. You can't always make new lives.
Yeah. Yep. One of a kind.
Feeling sad for your son there. Never going to
How?
learn how to drive. Never being able to. You'll teach it how to drive.
My teenage son.
I still know how to ride a horse.
My teenage son has never driven a car that had a blinker stock.
Oh, that's interesting.
What? So when he gets in a car that has a blinker stock, he'll be like, "Oh, this is different." Okay.
Yeah. He'll still learn how to drive a manual car. He'll know how to work on the engine. He's still
What
want to teach them.
He'll be wrenching on the carburetor.
Yeah. Just to teach them how things work. You want to. It's very hard to understand like the purpose of a wrench or why a wrench has a little bit of an angle on it rather than being straight. Why screw? You got to get him working with stuff. But he'll learn how to ride a horse.
Why does it?
So you can get into certain angles. If it was straight up, you wouldn't be able to get into most angles.
What has happened to this conversation? What are we talking about now?
But believe it or not, it's one of the first things I learned in engineering school.
Yeah, that's a great one. In terms of big news, I don't know if everyone's heard, but Ford is getting into the stationary storage business. Hey, Tesla does it. How hard could it be?
I've heard that.
Will it be profitable? They'll get into it, but can they make it profitable?
I feel like they said the same thing about EVs, and that hasn't worked out all that great for them. It is difficult. You have to spec out these systems years in advance, and I haven't seen a spec sheet. I don't think there is one. GM had also announced they were going to be doing stationary storage at their battery day, which is now 3.5 years ago. I am not aware of GM having any stationary storage around. So
Ford needs to do something with that factory that they built for EVs for cars. Now that they're getting out of EVs, what do we do? Great story, great marketing.
They already wrote it off, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so things for Tesla this year was good. That something's delayed, right? But otherwise, the most important things.
Look, everything's always going to seemingly be delayed with a new technology, especially life-saving technology that is going to roll out, and you have to deal with the regulators and all of that. But I think this was the biggest leap we've had in a year. I mean, like we deployed robotaxis in more than one place. It's not just a demo. It's not just a concept. It's rolling out. We're seeing cybercabs being tested out publicly. Like things are happening faster than ever. I know it's not in like the big milestones, like 100,000, whatever, 8 different cities, all that. Okay, sure. Maybe that hasn't happened. Still could, but maybe it hasn't happened yet. But we're seeing that the timelines for these big milestones are collapsing and happening faster and faster. It's this inevitable slow drip. The way I keep phrasing this about how I think this. Look, I don't think Elon's gonna be right pretty much about anything he's been talking about with timelines. Like this, I give up. Like he might hit some, he might be overly optimistic on others. He might be ahead of some. But the way I see this is everything he's been saying is happening faster and faster. It's like compound interest. It starts off slow. It's a slow drip. It's a slow drip. The next thing you know, things start to build upon each other. And that's what's happened. We went from Elon talking about, I think, maybe at the end of the year, maybe at the end of next year, maybe at the end of next year. Then we had a robotaxi day, right? And it's like, okay. And then this year, not only did we have robotaxi actually come out, we went in Austin, and then that expanded a couple times. And then went to California. And now we're seeing cybercabs out there. And then, so you're seeing this compound interest effect. So it's like just now the portfolio is starting to actually be meaningful in this compounding, and this 2026 can be even bigger. 2027 will be even bigger, and I think that's what's going to keep happening. So I'm extremely excited. I think this year was the best year we've had, and it's the slowest it'll ever be.
Mm.
Let's look at Never. Never is an important timeline for Tesla Q.
Yeah.
They're not very good at it. I don't know if they know that it's a literal term rather than a metaphorical term,
Right.
because FSD will never exist outside of the US. Oh, well, I mean, Canada, Mexico, I guess, but never outside North America. How's that working out? Because they have the limited release in China, and it works. We've seen breathtakingly amazing results of it driving on a one-lane dirt mountain road and yielding for oncoming traffic. Unbelievable. We've seen it in Australia, where they're demoing it, and many people have it, and New Zealand as well. We're seeing it in parts of Europe for a trial basis with a Tesla employee behind the wheel but not doing anything. This is going to be kind of a big deal. Korea has FSD already on the road. This never has unfortunately already happened again. I think we're going to see a lot more nevers. I mean, even in the comments on this show, there are people saying never about things related to autonomy, and it's
Never in
fun.
snow, right?
Now, right, never in snow. I mean, I've used it in snow, but sure. Never in fog. I've used it in fog. And fog, by the way, LiDAR, as Herbert pointed out on a show we did, LiDAR can't see through fog.
Or snow.
Or snow. It's a wall. Guys, you're going to have to.
So do you guys think the sentiment matters? So beginning of this year, we had tremendous Tesla hate. Elon got into politics. Doge really caused. Remember, people were keying cars. In fact, it's still happening. Burning cars, Tesla cars, burning Tesla dealers. The sentiment was as low as it could get. People were saying, "I'll never invest in a Tesla. I'll never buy a Tesla," because the hate is so high. So some of that seemed to have gone away. Yeah, maybe not 100%, but does it matter? Like, does Tesla just need to prove the technology works, the products are great, the service actually comes out and it changes the world because of just reduced transportation costs, eventually reduced labor costs? All these things matter. Does it matter that the sentiment?
Walmart is the devil. People believe that. People say, I will never, ever, ever shop it. They're the worst. I mean, I might buy a few things there, but they're the worst. Right, but you will buy things there, and so will all of us. And Walmart, despite all of the negative press, still puts their name on the side of semi-trailers. It's just kind of the thing. Everybody has a price. You look at someone who despises, absolutely loathes Tesla, takes every opportunity to take cheap shots. Fred Lambert from Electric just bought a new Model Y.
Yeah.
Well, I had referral dollars that were going to expire. What, like $5,000, $6,000? It couldn't have been much. The big referral dollars expired over the summer. And I know, because that's when we used it to get my son a car. This is insanity. But everyone has a price. When Tesla had its big price cuts 2-3 years ago, they dropped prices by like $5,000 once the pandemic crunch was finally in the past. And a lot of people, even on Reddit, where Elon is persona non grata, they said, the guy is still a monster, but at these prices, I mean, what else am I supposed to buy?
He's still a monster, but
well, yes, but a monster who makes good cars. I mean,
yeah,
at least that's got to count for something. And to them, it does, because the
so
reality.
you're basically saying, yeah, the sentiment is going to ebb and flow, and some products you'll still buy because it's just so life-changing.
I know people who have a strong distaste for Elon because of his politics and his positions on certain things that are very important to them, who have since bought a Tesla because it is, for their use case, the best value, the safest, the most hassle-free. There are more expensive cars you can get. If money was not an object, what car would I buy? I'm not getting a Bentley or a or a Hellcat, I'm getting, honestly, the cars I already have. Those are the ones I want. What I want is a YL. Why won't you sell it to me? That's what I want. Because the
Okay.
autonomy is just too good. There are other cars that are fantastic cars, but they're just cars. It's just a car. When I do reviews of other brands, I have to point out that this review is based on it being just a car. I'll cover their lane keep, but it's just a car.
Yeah. Let me pig. I obviously agree with everything Brian said, and maybe it's not so obvious, but I do. Um, I'll add to that. I like to look at things from a capitalism perspective. I know there's a lot of people that think, especially right now, that capitalism's evil or capitalism doesn't work for everybody. But I genuinely think that for people who put in effort, capitalism does work if government stays out of the way. That's my point of view generally. But like Brian brought up Walmart. Why does people can sit there and say they hate Walmart, but why do people still go to Walmart? Well, guess what? Because at the end of the day, people want affordable, convenient goods. And that's the beauty, in my opinion, about capitalism is it doesn't discriminate based on race, color, creed, gender, anything. It just cares about, at the end of the day, who's doing good, who's offering value to someone else. And if that value is worth something, then that value gets rewarded. And I think that's where Tesla will benefit at the end of the day, is that dollar for dollar, you know, Tesla vehicles are the safest, most capable, highest technological available, most efficient, lowest cost. Like any metric you want to put it up, a Tesla is going to be the obvious clear choice. So hate, the beauty about hate is kind of very similar to why extreme happiness or euphoria also can't last. The beauty about hate is that it's cyclical. You can only be mad for so long. Being mad is exhausting, and the good times, you being like on a high only lasts so long, right? That's why the founding fathers were smart enough to say the pursuit of happiness, because happiness is not necessarily a thing that you can obtain in perpetuity. It's something you always have to strive for because it's cyclical. And so that's the nice thing about hate is eventually it wanes and it goes away, because at the end of the day, humans can't stay in that state forever. And
Yeah.
what I like about capitalism is at the end of the day, it kind of sorts through all the noise. At the end of the day, people care more so about what's going to benefit them and their family more so than which way did this person vote or which way did that person vote. Like, that's honestly, if you really think about it in this whole human life experiment, politics is like the stupidest thing in the world to even get wrapped around the axle, right? It really is. To make decisions based on politics, it's like, hey, we can all have our point of view, go for it. It's like going to watch a movie. Some people like horror movies, some people prefer just comedy, some people like rom-coms, whatever. But like, to make a decision on a person based on that is kind of crazy. Like, listen, this is what they think. This is their worldview. All right. But at the end of the day, are we nice to each other? Do you say nice things? Do you treat me well? Do I treat you well? Are we respectful? That's all that matters at the end of the day. So who cares if one person voted one way or the other? At the end of the day, Tesla creates a huge value for your family. Teslas keep your family safe. They lower your cost of ownership and operation. So yeah, that's very important. At the end of the day, I think that will always win out no matter what it is. I mean, let's not forget, Volkswagen was created by Hitler, right? Ford, founder, correct me if I'm wrong, but he had some ties with the KKK. Like, look, but at the end of the day, people buy things because it has utility. It allows them to have a certain amount of buying power, lets them get a certain job done, and keeps them safe. Like, that's what matters in life, not all this other stuff. We can all have our own points of view, but like, that's what matters. And so I do think the hate wins. I think that's why we went such a huge change in spectrum pendulum swings this year, from Elon's the worst person in the world, lighting on fire and all that, to, hey, guess what? Tesla is #1 selling vehicle in China again, and they're probably going to have a record year again. And I mean, like, they're just crushing it. So it's what matters always. What actually matters always rises to the top over a long enough time. And clearly, 1 year is all it takes. Less than a year.
I don't like companies that have political backgrounds, which is why I'll only drive a Mitsubishi. Wait, what were they doing in the 40s again? Oh, yeah, that's right. They made the Japanese fighter planes that were used in kamikaze
Kamikazes.
missions. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe not Mitsubishi. And the reality is you can find, to the credit of the guy who founded VW, he is the man who killed Hitler. So that's worth something right there. Uh, I, if you could make a better product at a better price, it's going to win. Uh, I've had people ask me if you could buy anything other than a Tesla. You, for some
Mhm.
reason, you lose a bet and you have to drive something that isn't a Tesla for a year. What would you drive? And I say, in the US, gosh, I don't know. If I could go global, maybe a Xiaomi or a Huawei. But in the US, I don't know. Herbert and I had lunch with a gentleman named Casey, an electrician from Portland. And Casey asked Herbert, autonomy, who's in number two if I want to buy a car that drives itself? And Herbert and I just looked at each other. We're like, number two. Uh,
But if you can buy a car that can drive itself,
buy a
that's
car
the
that can drive
distinction.
itself. Right. We're not
Is it-
talking Waymo. You can't buy one.
Would it be comma or Ford?
Comma's not a car, but they are
I
a service.
I
They
know,
can
but
convert a
but
car.
yeah,
Right.
Ford.
And so,
What do you mean?
and so I
Oh,
was
you
like,
add the
Ford
comma to
or
a Ford?
Ford.
Oh,
No, would it
I
be
was,
comma AI or would it be Ford? Like who would be number two
well,
in your opinion?
honestly, I
how
said,
could Ford, is Ford doing anything to do with driverless cars?
they've
What?
got
Blue
Blue
Cruise.
Crew, but
Oh,
it's, it's,
dude, that's a cruise
I said,
control on the highway.
well, you can use it in more than highway environments, but don't.
No, no.
I said maybe Super Cruise, but I've never had a chance to experience it myself. In
I
the
thought they
US,
stopped it. I thought they recalled it.
no, I don't. Did they? I don't think so. I think Super Cruise is still available. In the
Oh.
comments, someone can let us know. Yeah, uh, it's
But that's your point.
Yeah.
This
yeah,
conver-
yeah.
this-
There's no good second place. I did enjoy. I love when I do the reviews of secondhand EVs because Platt Auto in Milwaukee, Oregon, is gracious enough to allow me to drive anything on the lot, and they will answer all my questions. They do a no haggle situation where the price is the price. We know what we got, and it's good. I call that the no. I'm told it's the no dicker sticker, which is crazy because in the video I pronounced it differently, and apparently that is not what it's called. But yeah, it doesn't have or sticker. So anyway, in those vehicles, I will try out the autonomy and see how they go. And poorly, poorly is
Of
how they
course.
go.
No, nobody tries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Nick. So you've changed, dude, since the baby, huh? Thinking
I've
a little
changed.
more philosophical, looking at the life,
Well, it's the end of the year
future.
too. I towards the end
Oh,
of the year I try to reflect a lot, and
yeah.
I normally put out like a prediction video for
Mhm.
2026 in this case, and I review my previous prediction video and see all the stuff I got wrong, what stuff I
Yeah.
got right, and all that. But yeah, not just end of the year is a time to reflect, just on everything, mistakes, things done right,
Mm.
what matters in life. So I am trying to bask in the reflection next week.
Yeah, that's what we're doing today. I mean, just think a lot of things happen. A lot of things happened in 2025, but I think
Let's
the
talk
most
about
important things have
2026.
happened. Let's talk down to 2026. What are your forecasts? You talked about
Well,
forecasts. Are you creating your
I have a
list?
question for you guys. I didn't prime
Yeah.
you guys for this because I want to catch you guys off guard in case you were going to try to back out of it. What's he talking about? I was on with Randy last week, and he's been catching me up on everyone's last night, and he was catching me up on what everyone's predictions on from Brian to Dan Ives and everyone for Tesla. And we've got some predictions of Tesla will be $700, $800, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 by the end of next year, meaning end of 2026. And that we're going to have hundreds of thousands of robotaxis in the United States by the end of next year. And, I'm just curious, what are you guys predicting? Do you think that those kind of numbers in general are spot on, a little bit out there. I know you'll both probably punt on the stock, but I'm just curious if there's anything you're willing to talk about and what you guys think, and then I'll tell you what I think.
So, in terms of the stock price, I'm absolutely punting. I don't know if it goes sideways from here for another year. Doesn't matter to me. It's all in my IRA. I can't touch it anyway. My prediction is that Tesla stock will continue to outperform the broader market, and that is fine with me, because the only thing I'm more excited about than Tesla is the prospect of a SpaceX IPO. And I will not sell a single share of Tesla to buy into the SpaceX IPO, but I do
Ooh.
have some other things I could sell. So if anyone needs a kidney, you can let me know.
I was gonna say, your wife's in the background now, hearing for the first time you're selling the house.
Sell the house. There was a gentleman in France who was selling his house, and he thought, I don't need to buy a house for a year. You know what? I'm going to sell it, put all the cash into Tesla, and that's when it 20x'd. And we never heard from him again. I imagine his DMs were just inundated. But what I expect to see next year, when I was at the Fremont factory last week, there was a section of the factory that was not viewable. And I had a high level employee with me. And the tour guide, of course, does not mention this thing that we're scooting past in the shuttle, in the tram. It's a big section of the factory that is completely blocked off floor to ceiling with black plastic and security fencing. And I said, that's weird. You'd think that Tom would have mentioned this thing we're going by. And he's like, yeah, it looks like something pretty secret is in there. I'm like, yes. And then as we get around it, I can see the size of the enclosure. And I said, that's too small to manufacture cars. And he said, it's weird. It's almost like there's something smaller than a car that's already been announced that will be made at this factory that's being tooled up. And so that's where Optimus is going to be built. They are already putting in equipment to build Optimus. If you're not excited about Optimus, that's fine. You don't have to be. You don't have to think it can do all kinds of different tasks, but it can. And the one that Jeff Lutz always points out is pick and place. And 2 weeks ago, I would have argued with him that that's a valuable thing. But now, having seen several factories this week, I realize how big of a job pick and place still is. Someone needs to take the item and give it to the machine. And you say, well, just have a different machine do that. Correct. That's Optimus. No, like a purpose-built one. Right. There is no purpose-built one. The purpose-built one is Optimus. And well, you're going to displace workers. Oh, okay. But you can't get enough workers in Nevada to feed the factory. They are struggling constantly to get enough people because Giga Nevada has as many employees as a lot of cities. That's hard to staff up in a city that's not much bigger than Fernley, Nevada has probably a population less than that of Giga Nevada. So it's this Optimus will be coming out. I'm confident in 26. It will not necessarily come to you and me. It will not be in my home, but it will not be maybe even ready to be in my home. But in a industrial setting, it's going to be valuable.
Before Herbert goes, Brian, does that mean that you think that Tesla will sell their first Optimus to another company, or just that they're going to build and they're actually going to use them internally at their factories in a way that's more so than just testing and demo, but like in a actual meaningful way?
In a real way that really replaces warm bodies. It will absolutely be used internally because they've got so much use for it. And I think a first customer could be Panasonic. The Panasonic part of Giga Nevada is separate. I did not get to go in there. Their entrance is separate. And, the batteries basically come through the wall like magic. I think Panasonic would be a good customer because when they need support, they're already right there. They're already, they've got a bunch in the Reno, the Tesla side, some in the Panasonic side. I think, and then also putting them out to suppliers who have a legit use for it, who are closely tied into the Tesla ecosystem. And I think right there, you could easily do tens of thousands.
Yeah, I could see a lot of the early adopters of semi trucks being potential customers as well.
Mm.
Herbert,
Yeah.
all right.
So you
Tell us,
asked two
yeah,
questions, right? What do you think
throw
about stock
Optimus in
by
there too.
next Optimus? Or sorry, Tesla stock by next year, and how many
Robotaxi count.
robo taxis will be around by next year? Yeah. So
Yep.
one of the things I was obviously fortunate enough to do this year is interview as many people as possible, hear each of their thinking, their logic, and I'm trying to come up with my own based on all this. So let's talk stock, right? So normally I never give Tesla stock
Ever.
price targets
Never. This is
ever.
everyone grab your drinks, sit down. Here we
Never.
go.
No, I'm not about to. Like people
Oh,
always people
the
accuse me
tease.
of saying, "Oh, you're always so bullish," and I go, "What's my stock price target?" If I'm forced to guess something, sure, I'll guess, but what do I know, right? But here's the thing that fascinates me is how obviously, if you can guess Tesla stock price or any stock price, you're going to be incredibly billionaire. So here's what some people have said. Some have told me that, well, first of all, 2026, everybody expects the stock price to go up, but don't be so fast, because what matters more is earnings, and earnings upon earnings growth. And the time when NVIDIA stocks skyrocketed was when they actually showed earnings upon earnings growth. And that may not happen anymore as we all thought was going to happen by the second half of this year. Warren Redlick thinks that because things have been pushed further away than, not as fast as if we were thinking would happen by the end of this year, that maybe it won't happen, earnings upon earnings growth, until the 2027. Remember that Elon himself has said that robotaxi revenues won't move the needle until the second half of 2026. Now he goes, well, if you push that, 2027. So he's going, the stock won't go up at all as much as this year. Having said that, the stock is now at all-time highs at the end of this month. And how many people guessed that, right? Nick, you were ahead of the game saying that there's a chance it will happen. A lot of us Tesla shareholders are kind of PTSD. We don't want to say it is. And then we got here. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. We can't predict it. However, other people like AJ will say, yes, you can actually see earnings upon earnings growth further away, but the market is forward looking. So they'll look back at, they'll look and go, what is 2027 earnings? And then they'll bring that back to June of 2026. And that's when you'll see the stock price rising, right? There's those kinds of things. Then there's the wild cards like Optimus coming in, and then watching the robotaxi growing, and then people testing it out. And then when they do test it out, they'll go, for sure, yes, it's not here, I'll buy it. So the question is, how much of the stock is already built in? And clearly it is already built in beyond auto and beyond energy. There's already this promise of robotaxi and promise of bots. How much more is not built in, and how much will be brought in? I think it's going to be higher than it is today. I don't know if it's going to be double what it is. I'm not prepared to say what it is, but I do agree with that statement that when you get earnings upon earnings growth quarter by quarter, so that means that Tesla reports earnings in one quarter, people go, yeah, that's great, that's wonderful, it looks like it grew. Then the next quarter they report again and it's bigger, and then it grows bigger again. That's when everybody started throwing money at Tesla, at NVIDIA, for example. And you still had the naysayers. They all kept saying, yeah, it's a blip. AI is not a real thing. Sure, they're going to get, and they kept guiding higher and higher each quarter until eventually they realized, oh, he's not lying. The market is, it's a money, it's a money thing that's happening now. People are just left, right, and center handing him money, NVIDIA. Same thing's going to happen with Tesla. So for sure, the stock will skyrocket 2027. The question is it going to happen in 2026? To what extent will be more brought in? So, if you pushed me, I will say double what it is now. But
$1,000, you're saying?
It could double to what it is today. Yeah. So if the company is worth 1.5 trillion, it can go to 3 trillion. But it's like, who knows, right? It's all, a lot of the good things have to happen. You're the expert in this. Macro, no massive events. Okay.
I did want to say real quick that in 10 minutes ish, the show will end. I will be on a live after show addressing many of your questions and comments that did not get attention during this main show. I want to thank everybody for a wonderful year this Christmas. We will be back next Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. We should also mention, right, Brian, that as of January, unfortunately, Brian doesn't have the time to do this
Yes.
Wednesday shows anymore. We're gonna miss you big time. This show is you, dude. This show is you.
I think you'll limp along just fine. Yes,
You'll
I
limp
have
along.
to. I have to focus
Yeah.
on growing my channel. I have to focus on my, paying the bills. Apparently, is a thing that the bills insist upon. So that's but I will still be a regular on Herbert's channel. I think that means I have to work harder at getting Nick on my channel and being on his, because I appreciate your valuable insights, Nick, even when I disagree with you. But there are, hey, we got next week, one more big show. And then, of course, I'll be here for the after show in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to run inside and get coffee. So take your time, gents, and Merry
Thanks,
Christmas.
Brian. Appreciate
Merry
you.
Christmas,
Yeah.
Brian.
And then
Yeah.
what we're gonna do, Nick and I, is we're gonna have Hans Nelson joining us as the trio, and we'll be the new Tesla boys. I don't like
Actually,
that name.
Herbert, maybe
Yeah,
this is a good time to tell you, unfortunately, no, I'm kidding. Unfortunately, you're stuck with
Change happens. It's okay. I would have to just figure things out as I do. But okay, so now we're talking about
robotaxis.
robotaxi cars.
And
This
I'll
is
tell you my thoughts
yeah.
on the stock and robotaxis afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. So robotaxis, okay, first of all, the important thing to keep in mind for folks is that it can all be Model Ys. It does not have to be cybercabs at all, right? So no cybercab doesn't mean that Tesla's not going to grow to whatever number you want, 10,000, 20,000. So again, I pull from the people I talk to. What do they think? How many robotaxis? And I've heard numbers, serious people thinking 50,000 robotaxis by the end of next year. That is a little too much for me, but here's the logic. The logic would be, by the way, now you add the cybercab, right? So is Tesla on track for cybercab? And so far, as of today, everything we know, every little signs and signals show that they're still on track for launching a Cybertruck in April. Lots of signs, right? They took the Cybercab through in and out. That is the signal that they've done as tradition for all cars that they've ever made. When they bring a new car to in and out drive-through, that is their signal that we are done with the design. This is production level design, ready to go. They did that with Cybercab. We're now seeing Cybercabs all over being driven in public roads. That's a good sign that 4 months before April. We're seeing crash testing, all these. So if the Cybercab is on track and they're hiring people, right? You can see these job postings. One was quality engineer and, just names that you can actually see that are actually for mass production of a vehicle. If they are still putting that money, that resource, we're seeing all these giga castings, and Brian was talking about this hidden area in Giga Texas that, what are they hiding in there? So if they're building that, that means that they have intention to create thousands of Cybercabs. You're not going to just create a new line of this thing and not have thousands of them. So then you go, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario? Well, let's take a look at Cybertruck, right? Because Cybertruck was a brand new vehicle, brand new technologies, brand new materials, and they were able to produce about 50,000 of that. So if you say typically for a brand new vehicle coming out, 50,000 a year is not unheard of. Okay, so this Cybercab will be created in April. Oops, another thing happening, dude. I've got a weather alert, a flash flood. I think we're okay.
Flood there?
But it was a tornado passed us, and we're okay now.
Oh.
So, okay. So now, but the reason I'm bringing up the Cybercab is that if they make the Cybercab, really what it's going to be used for is for robotaxi, right? And if you're going to have a supervised Cybercab, you have one person in the front seat. You can only have one person in the right seat. It'd be awkward. So really, they do have confidence. It looks like that Tesla's going to make thousands of these. And then so the 50,000 number is like pretty reasonable, but there's arguments both ways. Some people are saying actually it's going to be more than 50,000, right? Because this is the non-box model, unboxed model. It's Lego pieces. It's 50% much more easier, simpler design than a Model Y. So once this gets going, it's going to be much faster. So I would decide, they'll say, oh, it's going to be more than 50,000. It's going to be much higher than that. And then others will say, no, the first year is going to be, and which is where the camp I'm in, the first year is going to be very, very slow, regardless if this is a Lego kind of unboxed model, because it's brand new process, brand new materials, brand new production line. So don't expect that the first year they're going to hit 50,000. Okay. But the Model Y, how many robo-taxis are there going to be? And you look at the executives, not just Elon, lots of executives, 12 of them have come out and said something very similar to, slow at first and then everything at once kind of thing. Like it's going to be scaling very, very fast. And then you're watching FSD everywhere. So how many robotaxis by the end of next year? Again, being pushed, I'm trying to be careful, and we'll have certainly 1,000 for sure. 10,000 is a safe number. 20,000 for me sounds like a good number to go with, but it could certainly be much higher than that. I just can't get myself to say anything bigger than 20,000.
Okay, nice. Well, I appreciate you giving some actual I don't know, numbers behind what you think and explain that rationale. I think that was very good, especially for everyone to hear from you, someone who, much like Brian, has interviewed. I mean, between people like you and Brian, I don't know anyone who's interviewed more people and have had more people in the know of sorts. Shout out Kathy Woods, but in the know. Speak to them and be able to kind of distill or take all of those ideas, all those opinions from the extremely bullish to the bearish, and all that, put it into a bucket, distill it, aggregate it, and then come up with your own point of views. So I think it's very valuable from that point of view. I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah.
So I think for anyone who took the option course this past Saturday and anyone who'll take it on January 31st, if there's one thing you'll learn quickly about me, or you did learn quickly about me, is that I like to not just say things. I like to be able to quantify things. I like to be able to understand the probabilities of being right or wrong. And I think you can do that with pretty much everything in life. It's just most people don't do that. Most people just go with a gut feeling or just say, I think this will happen. But if you linger on it and think through it, I think you can more or less get towards the right area. You don't always have to hit the bullseye, but can you just at least hit the target? Right? If you can just hit the target, you're doing pretty good, I would say. And that's why I've been successful as an investor. That's why I feel like I've been right a lot. That's why I think I was right about, to start the year, I said we're going to reach all-time highs by the end of this year. It's not because I have some special chart formula or anything like that, but I could just see what was happening over and over with Tesla and the company. And I iterated from being overly optimistic to, kind of pulling back a little bit and grounding myself in what I think has become more of a realistic and being right point of view on where the company's going, and not just where they're going, but how fast they're getting to where they're going. I think we're all right on the big picture. I think we all have that nailed. I think we're all right about that. And honestly, that's arguably the hardest part. But now it's, can you temper your expectations? And I do think that's important to get your year to year right, because while everyone says, oh, I just buy a whole, I don't even think about it, I would say 99% of people say that. That's not true. I would say most Tesla investors, most all-in investors, most people who are active in the community, they look at the stock every day. I do it, you do it, we all do it. And so I just like to try to really get to a more of a grounded point of view on where Tesla's going. And so let's talk about the stock first. So I'll break this up in chunks. I think that Tesla right now has good runway to get. I think Tesla has a date with 500, whether it's this year or it's the start of next year. Tesla has a date with 500. It's coming. It will happen. Tesla will likely break 500 and run a little bit. 510, 515, 520, 530. I don't know. I have no idea. But it is my opinion based on everything I know, all my history, is that we will get to some 500 level and then we're going to pull back
Mhm.
because that's the natural way stocks work. Stocks don't just go up in a straight line. We've all seen that from when we broke $1,000 before the stock split. We saw that whenever we broke 300, lost 300, broke 300, lost 300, broke 300, lost 300. That same thing about 15 more times to 400, 420. Remember that? Oh, we finally hit all-time highs yet again after all these years of not hitting it. Okay, back and forth, all that. I think the same thing will happen here. Could Tesla get to a crazy number like 650, 700, 800 like you're talking about potentially next year? Is it possible? I would say anything's possible, especially in the stock market. But the real question is, can it sustain that? And that's what you really want to ground yourself in. And I don't think Tesla could sustain a $800 price target right now or next month or in 2 months or in 3 months. And the reason goes back to what you were talking about with earnings. We had huge debates, right, across the Tesla community. And honestly, I think you and I were kind of the only ones really leading it with the thought when we were down like in the high 200s earlier this year, saying if Tesla could fall down this quickly, it can easily come back up. And what was everyone else saying? Tesla needs earnings to go up. And I was like, no, bull, it doesn't. Like we already know it doesn't. It doesn't have to. Now, I would say now as we break 500, get to 500s, I think things change now. Now it's like, okay, we're probably right as far as we can go without starting to see the earnings come in. But why is it that we're able to push up higher? It's because Wall Street is trying to get ahead of the earnings they anticipate coming in the next 6, 12, 18 months. And so that's where I think you and I were very right this year in the darkest days this past year for Tesla. And our thesis has proven to be correct. But now I'm with you. I do think for Tesla to keep running to a $3 trillion valuation, to a $5 trillion valuation, et cetera, as we get into those higher numbers, it will have to be not necessarily getting all of the valuation in or all of the earnings in, but we need to start seeing it come in. We need to start seeing the compounding effects of that. And Wall Street will front run once that happens. So that's where I think we are right now. I think if we could end next year around 600 to 650, phenomenal year. And I hear people talking about 800, 1,000, 2,000. And I would rather be wrong, but be wrong on the upside than not. My recalibration that I've had over the past couple years of being overly optimistic says if we could end next year at 600, that's really, really good. That's essentially, that's a 100-point gain in the stock in 1 year. That's 20% gain if we close at 500 this year, right? Like that's huge. That's essentially what we're going to probably do this year. So I think that'd be a really big deal. I'm with you as well that I think 2027 is where we really have a big year. I think this next year is where we go from crawling till we start walking and finding our steps. And I think 2027 we start running. So my prediction at the moment, I'm going to do an actual prediction video on our new YouTube channel, me and Greg, called Behind the Trade. And I'll also do one on investing against the grain. I'm going to do a prediction video about where I see all this going. But right now, I'm calibrating at about 600 by the end of next year. So that's where I'm at. Apologies, I've been sick all week. As far as robotaxis, I'm with you. I think people are underestimating the amount of infrastructure, the amount of caution, the amount of people, command stations, everything you're going to have to build out to support the robotaxi network. I do not think it's just a matter of build the car, put it into the network. It may be that in Austin, since Austin's set up. It may be that in parts of California, since California's set up. But they need to build these command stations or these flight towers in all these other cities, all these other parts of the country. And I think that's going to take a little bit of time. I also agree with you that as you build a car, you learn things as you scale from Jesus, sorry. As you scale from 1,000 vehicles to building 5,000, you learn brand new things that you didn't know before. And Elon has told us that a million times. If you know that in the factory, you also learn new things as you scale from 10 vehicles in a robotaxi network to 100 to 1,000. You learn new things, new problems present themselves. And I think that's why 2026 is going to be about going from crawling to walking. And I think we need to be humble enough to let that process unfold as it will. And so I'm with you. I think between 20 and 50,000 robotaxis by the end of the year, we'll still put Tesla as the biggest.
Oh God,
I think
yeah.
company in the world as far as it goes with.
But they can just roll out Model Ys too, right? So that's what we were asking about robotaxis, not. But it was just that if they made that many cybercabs, and that certainly has to be used for robotaxis. But if they, because I'm not in the camp, you know, you and I have had a huge.
Yeah, I'm including Model Ys in that. I'm just saying, like,
they can
autonomous
throw Model
vehicles
Ys
out
in.
there picking up in the robotaxi network. I think 20 to 50,000. I just think there's a lot that has to be taken into account. Like I think we underestimate all the little complexities. You know, it's kind of like, it's like when you go to do something like very simple, like a little simple job. You're like, oh, all I gotta do is screw this into the wall. So I'm just gonna drill a hole, put it in, and we're done, right? And then you go to screw it in. You're like, oh, there's concrete back here. Oh, I don't have a concrete bit. Okay, let me go to the store, get a concrete bit. Now I gotta come back. Oh, I don't have a hammer drill. Now I gotta get a hammer drill. I gotta go back. And then you come back. And then you figure out, oh man, this is metric, not sand. It's like this job that should have taken 10 seconds all of a sudden has all these problems that present itself that you didn't expect. And we've all done that house project that's like, why is this thing that should have been 10 seconds now taking 2 hours? I think that's what happens, especially with new vehicle line.
This is all brand new vehicle, dude. This is
network.
Not just a new Model Y or anything.
Yeah, whole new process. Yeah,
brand new. Yeah, so just don't expect it, and then it'll skyrocket because it is designed to be just plug and play and, you know, unbox and all that. I'm laughing here, Nick. Brian left before he left a joke in our private chat. He said, "You shouldn't be drinking champagne, Nick, if you're breastfeeding."
Well, my baby disagrees.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. That was fun. So stay on the line here. You'll be transferred over automatically to Brian's show. Appreciate you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. This is a great year to celebrate and a lot more to look forward in 2026. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye, everybody.